It's got a lot of songs to sing. If I knew the tunes, I might join in. La-di-da. All right, sweetie, I think we're ready.
Okay.
Should I announce the show or should I wait for people to show up?
Well, you can announce the show.
BOOZHOO! Welcome back to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, a podcast about Ojibwe language. Isn't that right, sweetie?
It sure is.
About Ojibwe language and culture. I am NANABOOZHOO. Over here we've got the lovely and the talented Natasha.
BOOZHOO!
And over here we've got the not so lovely and not so talented Michael. Nah, just kidding, buddy. Hey, BOOZHOO, everybody. And then there's me, NANABOOZHOO. And Richard's here. Hey, sweetie, Richard's here.
BOOZHOO, Richard.
Natasha says BOOZHOO, like you couldn't hear that. He says BOOZHOO. How you doing, Niji? Welcome back to the show. Today is the Ojibwe word of the day, abatuse. Abatus, abatus, abatuse. I've got to say, abatuse. Abatuse in Ojibwe means halfway. We're halfway through the week. Abatuse. And so that's the Ojibwe word for Wednesday. Daniel's here, sweetie.
Oh, hi, Daniel.
Natasha says hi. He says BOOZHOO. Daniel Muckade. Daniel Black. I like my Daniels like I like my coffee. Black. I like my coffee like I like my women. Hot and bitter. Nah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. So, yeah, we're halfway through the week. It is Wednesday in January. It's really cold outside. I didn't check the temperature, but it's like, I don't know. I heard a rumor of 32 below wind chill. And Minnesotans, we love to always, you always got to go extreme. Hey, man, the wind chill is 32 below zero. If you're standing right in the wind, it would feel even colder than it is. But I think it's like a high of 1 degree or something. This is always a cold time of year. Okay. Sweetie, should we take some calls?
Oh, we could.
All right. If you'd like to call into the show, oh doggone, I forgot to put the phone number. Well, if you're a real fan, you'll get it. All right. So who do we got on the line?
Well, there's someone here who says he's Barack Obama.
All right, put him on the line. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Yeah. This is former President Barack Obama. Oh, how you doing? It's nice to have you on the show. Well, I think your show is a really fine show, and I just wanted to stop by and ask you if I could request an Ojibwe word. Yeah, sure. What word would you like me to translate for you? Well, I used to be the commander and chief. Yeah, I know. Get to the point. And I was wondering, what word do you want me to translate? Can you translate commander and chief for the Ojibwe word of the day? Is this really Barack Obama? Because you don't really sound like him. Well, the commander-in-chief, a chief is an Ogama. So you'd be the commander in Ogama, I guess. Well, Ogama. Well, thank you, NANABOOZHOO. This is former President Barack Obama. And I just want to wish you a very happy day. Yeah, okay, I got to go, man. Barack Obama. I guess he watches the show.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I suppose. He sure likes to go swimming with other men. We did a whole bit about how Barack Obama, right after he got done being a president, he went for a swim with Richard Branson. Billionaire tycoon Richard Branson. They went for a little swim together. We're frolicking in the water. I'm not saying anything. All right, who's our next caller?
Well, this guy says his name is Donald Trump.
All right, put him on. You're on the air, caller.
Yes. Is this NANABOOZHOO?
Yeah, sir. This is NANABOOZHOO. What can I do for you?
Well, I just wanted to call in and tell you how much I enjoy the show.
Yeah, okay. So how you keeping now that you're out of work?
Well, I tell you, I never slow down. I'm gonna build a wall.
Oh, you're finally gonna build that wall, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna build it right around my front lawn. Nobody'll get into my front lawn.
Yeah, okay. Well, good for you. So, how's everything else going?
I tell you, it's tremendous. It's fantastic. I am the greatest former president ever.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, I'm gonna have to let you go too.
Oh, just one more thing.
Yeah, what?
I just want to tell you, I love your show.
All right. Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you for watching. Miigwech Ganawabi Egg. And, we'll see you next election when you run again.
I don't think they're going to let me.
Yeah, I know. All right. Hey, talk to you later.
Kikawabamin, Minawa.
Oh, wow. You know how to speak Ojibwe?
Well, I watch your show.
All right. We'll see you later, Trump.
Yeah, I'll see ya.
Former President Donald Trump and Barack Obama on the same show. Can you guys believe it? This show is getting so political. You know, people come here for the show for the politics. They're like, what should I think politically? Who should I vote for? I know. I'll go to the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast, and then I will ask them what they think. And that will tell me what I should think. Because that's the point of, programming. We're going to program your mind. You know, Chanel people, they always like to talk about decolonizing your mind.
Yeah, huh?
Everyone wants to decolonize their mind. Oh, my mind's been so decolonized. Or so colonized. Like, what do you mean by that? Do you feel like a colonist? Here's my question for the viewers. Are you guys colonized? You know? We just got a bunch of apples watching the show. Red on the outside, white on the inside. Hey, Grieving Turtle's here.
BOOZHOO, Grieving Turtle.
BOOZHOO, says Natasha, and I say hello too. Yeah, you're all colonized, man. That's why I quit speaking English.
What do you mean? You never quit speaking English.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I guess it's my colonized mind. Got to get back to the ways. To living like a true human being. You know who lives like a true human being?
Who?
Jessica Gonzalez. You know, I would never say this to her face, but she is a true human being. Oh, she's right here. Speak of the devil. Nah. Bonjour, Jessica. Jessica is here. Doing the morning roll call. Okay, everything's way okay. You know what? I think everything's going to be just fine.
Really?
Yeah. That's my new attitude. You know, there's been a purge on on YouTube. They're getting rid of all these so-called conspiracy theorists. You can't see any videos if somebody thinks the election was rigged or something. They don't want you thinking that way. And they've also gotten rid of a lot of, comedians, just basic comedy, and so you're kind of running out of stuff to watch on YouTube. What they didn't purge was negativity, gloom and doom. If there's a, oh, beware, the world's ending. What's that one show I used to watch about the oncoming apocalypse? A call for an uprising. Oh, look at this stuff they're doing. There's going to be a coup, whatever. One season it's the environment. Oh, the ozone layer is going to fall on us. How come they never talk about the ozone layer anymore? I don't know. Then the next season it's, oh, you're going to die from, diabetes. Oh, cancer is going to kill you. Oh, it's the AIDS. There's always something to be afraid of right around the corner. That's how they keep people watching. Keep them scared. Michael, when you were in college, didn't you work for the newspaper? Well, yeah, but I was like, a cartoonist. Oh, that's right. What did you learn about journalism while you were working side by side with the newsmen back in the 90s? They had a saying. They always said, if it bleeds, it leads. What? Yeah, if it bleeds, like if it's about somebody, a car accident or something, that would be the headline. Oh, wow. If it bleeds, it leads. The lead story always has to be something that's scary or bad news. When I was a kid, they used to save they'd be like, okay, coming up next, Vietnam, and, President Nixon will be fired today or whatever. He's going to fly away. And, oh, there's gas lines. Remember that? No, I'm too young. Oh, yeah. Back in during Carter, people would line up around blocks to get their gasoline because they were in gas lines. There was a shortage of gasoline or something. I don't know what happened to that. But then, but now it's all, which protest do you want to watch this week? Who got shot by a cop somewhere? Oh, look, here's a whole family of 3 getting handcuffed. Aren't cops bad? You're like, well, what'd that family do? I don't know. Richard says, dirty laundry. Yeah, that's the other thing. If it's a scandal. If it's a scandal for the politics that they don't like, that'll lead to, remember when Hunter Biden got in all that trouble? It was like Fox News. First, news story, Hunter Biden smokes crack cocaine. Oh, okay. Why is that news? I guess I assumed that. But if it's for somebody they like, they won't even cover it. But this show is going to be about optimism. This show is going to be about gratitude. Because we are halfway. For some of us, I'm getting the impression a lot of us who get together in the mornings here, because we're up so early, there's a lot of middle-agers here. There's a lot of people who are halfway through their life. I remember when David Bowie died, I was really sad. And I said to myself, oh, wow. Well, he's 20 years older than me. I guess the countdown starts. I probably have 20 years left. I don't know why, but I just thought, I started counting that. But what if you knew for a fact that you were going to live to be 120? That you could just guarantee you're going to live and be pretty healthy for 120 years. would that change how you feel about stuff right now? Because some of us, I guess maybe I'm talking about this, because Michael here has a birthday tomorrow. Don't you, Niji? Yeah, I sure do. How old are you going to be? I'm going to be 54. Hikes. So do you feel like you're halfway? Yeah, I'll be lucky if I'm halfway. Yeah, I know. But who knows? Maybe you will live to be 108. So if you knew for a fact that you were actually halfway, I don't know. Would it change anything? You know, would you get married? Or would you go, you know what, maybe I should wait until I'm 90. Maybe I'll settle down in my 90s. Find a nice, 40-year-old. Thanks. Grieving Turtle says, I like amateur tests and anti-tests. They're less difficult than protests. Yeah. I'm a protester. Oh, you go out in the streets? No. I take tests really well. I'm a professional at it. You give me a test, I'll grab my number 2 pencil and I'll fill in those holes, those little circles, just good, because I'm a protester. Jessica says, make every day count, even if you're young. Young people die too. Yeah, no kidding. We're not guaranteed a single day. That's the other thing. You know, number one, they could never guarantee, oh yeah, by the way, you're going to live to be 120. You know, just as you say that, a satellite will fall on your head. You know, and oh, look out! Here comes Skylab. Anybody remember Skylab? Skylab in the 80s was when a satellite fell in somebody's house, and all the people were like, "Hikes! Those things can just fall." You know. How come that's never on the news? How often satellites just fall on people's heads? You know, you can see it on YouTube once in a while. It'll be like, oh, you know, a tribe in the Brazilian rainforest, found this satellite with a beeping light and a deflated balloon, crashed into their yard. And they're like, what is this thing from the future? NASA's got to go down there. Oh, sorry. I guess it sprang a leak. That's that tricky thing. Speaking of conspiracies. Remember the Roswell incident?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, I don't remember it, but I remember the story.
Yeah, so in Roswell, the story is in 1948 or sometime, way back in the day. Back in the days of the grandfathers. A story came out that a flying spaceship shaped like a saucer crashed into Roswell, New Mexico, and they recovered these dead bodies of little gray aliens, and the news spread all over the country. And the next day they came out and they said, no, man, it was a weather balloon. It was a weather. When I said that it was a flying saucer and there were aliens dead in there, and we called the government, and it wasn't that. It was actually a weather balloon. Boy, are we embarrassed. So, never mind. Nothing to see here. And then the great space, era in entertainment began. They didn't have like science fiction movies back in the 50s and stuff. That started like in the 60s, I think. Well, they didn't really have movies until, I don't know when they started having movies, the 30s, 40s. But then, years go by and finally people are starting to go, okay, wait a second, what is a weather balloon? What is a balloon that makes weather? I think they call those water balloons. It's not a weather balloon. It just, But as it turns out, it's like, yeah, okay. Maybe it wasn't maybe that was the truth. because I guess satellites, when you get that footage from way up high, that's they're being suspended by balloons. I guess NASA buys 98% of all the helium produced in the world. Almost all of it, because they've got satellites hanging from balloons. I'm amazed there's not more balloons that crash. So, yeah. Let's see. Jessica says, ever seen Donnie Darko, where a jet turbine falls in his bedroom? No, I never saw that. A jet turbine falls right in his bedroom. Yeah. Richard says, blue ice. Try and be as productive as we can while we walk this earth. Yeah, I like that. We can't hold on to everything. Pass on what we know. Grieving Turtle says, I'm packing lead today in my pencil. She's packing lead. She's got a heater on her hip. She's packing heat. All right, should we take another call?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's see who's let's see if who's the next caller.
It's crazy. We got former President George W. Bush.
Oh, wow. How come nobody even talks about him anymore? George W. Bush. Are you on the line, sir?
Yeah, I'm on the line.
Wow, what an honor. I gotta tell you, of all the presidents I've forgotten about, you are the easiest one.
Yeah, that's right. I'm the former president, George W. Bush. I was the president during 9/11.
Yeah, I know. So how you been keeping?
Oh, I'm all right. I like to paint.
Yeah, that's what I hear. You've become a painter. That's pretty cool. I'm actually more impressed with the idea that you learned how to paint than that you became the president.
Yeah, well, painting is an artistic endeavor. I like to paint. I paint the cats because I really like cats. So if you came down to the ranch in Texas, you'd find me painting cats.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you know what? I think history has ignored you too much. We should bring you back. Every time you turn on TV, there's Bill Clinton. How come nobody talks about the great painter George Bush?
Well, I guess it's maybe because of all the millions and millions of people I killed.
Yeah, you shouldn't joke about that.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. We're gonna get them terrorists. Mission accomplished. You're welcome, America.
Yeah, okay. Well, you got anything else you wanna add?
No, that's about it for me. I just want to tell you I love the show. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Well, I sure will. All right, thanks. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Gigawaba man, Menawa.
Yeah. All right, I'll see ya. Another former president who knows how to speak Ojibwe. Can you believe it?
That is so crazy. I can't believe these guys all watch the show.
Yeah, well, they want to learn the language. These are the Ogamas. These are the chiefs, the former chiefs of America. They were our leaders. They led us. I don't know. Leaders. So Jessica says, watch Donnie Dakota. That's one of my favorite movies ever. I probably read that as Donnie Darko before. I think that was a mob movie or something. Donnie Dakota. It sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon. Stay tuned. The Adventures of Donnie Dakota will return after these messages. No. Jessica says, laugh out loud. Atok thought that made more sense. Oh, it is Donnie Darko. Steve is watching Hoa. Are you watching the show, Steven?
Yes, I watch the show all the time.
Oh, okay. Steven. You know, it's weird that autocorrect would assume we're talking about the Dakota. Because they know this is a show about, Anishinaabe. Don't call us Indians. We're not from India. It always sounds a little racist when Indians get, like, all bent out of shape if they're I'm not an Indian. Do I look like I'm from India? It's like, what, your brown skin, long black hair? Actually, no. Anishinaabe people rarely look like Indians from India. I mean, Shinabs, it's hard to even like stereotype what an Anishinaabe looks like. But there is a difference. Some of the ladies have the what we call the Chippewa cheeks. Little chubby cheeks. You might not even be chubby, but you have Chippewa cheeks. We're typically a little taller than, the Dene. I don't know. I'm getting into dangerous territory talking about stereotypical looks. It's like, everyone's dirty little secret is that they can't tell the difference between Japanese, Chinese, and Korean. Oh, yeah, you can pretend like you can tell the difference, but I don't know. I just keep my mouth shut until I'm being filmed and broadcast over the World Wide Web. Jessica Gonzalez says, the Indians from India ask if I'm one of them out here sometimes. Laugh out loud. I figure if they can't tell, neither could Columbus. Yeah, exactly. I would take it as a compliment, I guess. If the Indians are like, hey, man, are you one of us? I remember when I was in college one time. This is in Moorhead, Minnesota. And there was a large Hispanic population. And a carload of, young men drove by. And they were like, why don't you go home, Jose? And I'm like, what? Why don't you go home? Why do you assume I'm from Mexico? Go home, Jose. It's like, what, to the Cass Lake? To the Leech Lake Reservation? What exactly are you referring to? I haven't had many, if I'm being honest, actual experiences with the racism. There was that one time when a carload of, young men told me to go back to Mexico. And after 9/11, somebody flipped me off. I don't know if that had anything to do with... Actually, that wasn't even me. That was you, wasn't it, Michael? Yeah, after 9/11, I was walking around with my hood up, and a redneck drove by and gave me the finger. And I thought it was because I looked Middle Eastern. Yeah. Did anything change for you in the airports after 9/11? Yeah, completely. I always got searched. Yeah. You do look like a terrorist. It's not because of the color of your skin. It's your shifty nature. Nah. Oh, I tease. Indians, dot or feather is what I hear. Yeah. Which stereotype? Can you narrow down what you mean by Indian? So Grieving Turtle says, here's my non-secret. Uncolored people have no tattoos. But if you have a tattoo, you are colored. Hey, yeah, no kidding. No matter how pale or dark you were originally. This prevents me from becoming a racist. Yeah. Remember the old days when people would be like unapologetically racist? You would have like that one great uncle. I don't like the Japs. Be like, this is America. I'm free not to like the Japs. It's like, geez, you want to hold it down? The war's over. And by the way, that family's not even from Japan. If you're gonna be racist, you should at least be specific. But they had to put everybody back in the closet. Grieving Turtle says she's uncolored. Uncolored. Yeah, we were talking the other day about the medicine wheel, and the old red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. The 4 different races: the reds, the whites, the blacks, and the yellows. You can call a group of people black or white, and even red is kind of, we know what you mean, but nobody ever calls Asian people the yellows. It's too rude. I'm not sure why. It's a touchy subject, racism. Maybe the show should be about that. Talk about racism. The Ojibwe word of the day would be, I don't even know what an Ojibwe word for racism would be. What's the Ojibwe word for race? We've said it before, but you look in the concise Minnesota Ojibwe dictionary or whatever, and you look up African American, and it's Muckade Wias. Black meat. Geez. What? Really? That's the term you came up with? Why don't you just call them Muckade, like black? Why do you have to put the meat in there? Well, it's called black skin. What, we didn't have a word for skin? Yes. And besides, it doesn't describe the skin. It's just, whatever. Like white people have white skin. You know what, white skin. Should we take another call? Yeah, okay. I'm doing a terrible job with this bit, but the pictures are just too funny. Caller, you're on the air. Hee hee hee. Oh, there's only one person that could be. Hey, everybody, it's me. Ladies and gentlemen, on the telephone, Michael Jackson. How you doing, Nietzsche? Hee hee. Oh, I'm doing great. I thought you died. No, I didn't die. I staged that. Hee hee hee. Some more. Yeah, okay. So, how you been? Oh, I'm doing great. I'm really great. It's really great. Yeah, all right. So, how do you feel about these, let's talk about race and the term black meat, Muckade Wias, being used in the Ojibwe language to refer to the African Americans. Oh, that's ignorant. That's really ignorant. I don't like it. Yeah, because, I don't know. I mean, does it really matter what color your skin is? No, it doesn't matter if you're black or white. Yeah, okay. Take it easy. So, I think a lot of people missed you when they thought you died for a while. Like me, I was really sad when you died for a while. Then, you kind of reconsider everything you were about and your true impact on the culture and kind of got over it. Yeah, I know. I mean, my music was one thing and my dancing was one thing, but everything else about me was just so, I don't know. Yeah, okay. Well, you're starting to sound a lot like Natasha, so I'm going to get off the phone. Is there anything you want to say to the viewers of BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO? Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for buying my albums. Thank you for watching my videos. Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for calling in, and I'll see you again. Yeah, I'll see you later. All right. Well, there you go. Let's never do this bit again. Stupid. Michael Jackson. From beyond the, I guess not beyond the grave. Michael Jackson says he staged his death. What do you think, sweetie? Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, huh? I mean, I don't know. I don't care. Let's see. Daniel Black says, racism. Experienced it. Wave goodbye to it. Ojibwe for life. Yeah, Daniel Black isn't worried about it. He waved goodbye to it. He experienced it. Jessica says, same. I haven't let anyone color on me. Jessica doesn't have any tattoos. She got no... Oh, you're the one who doesn't have any... There's not many of us left. Have you noticed that? Now you have to kind of, remember in the old days where you'd have a story about, or people would have a story about their tattoos. Well, I went over to Guadalcanal and me and the boys, we were out in the town one night. We got a little squaby and, got squaved up and got these tattoos. And I'll never forget that night. But now it's like, oh, you don't have tattoos? How come? Well, it goes back to... I never had $75 that I wanted to waste on a permanent mark on my body. Grieving Turtle says, NASCAR is all about professional racism. Did you hear that, sweetie? NASCAR, bunch of racists. Oh, man, I'm never going to go to another NASCAR race. Yeah, me neither. I guess I haven't been to one of those since 1982, maybe? NASCAR. There's not a lot of people of color in NASCAR. I don't know if that's... are they keeping people out? You know what LaPorte has? Where I'm from, in the winter, they have got these smash 'em up derby races on the ice. They call them ice races. And you take your old junk car and you go on races on the ice. They'll probably be coming up here in a few weeks. And they call it the ice races. But it's essentially just, bumper cars in real life on the ice. And I don't know. Jessica says, the thing about race... Oh, I get it. Professional racism, NASCAR, because they race. Hikes. I'm sorry, Grieving Turtle. I'm just slow this early in the morning. I take everything seriously. I'm like, yeah, those race car drivers are a bunch of rednecks. But it's about race. The thing about race is it's not even a real thing. Phenotypes are a thing, but they're not actually such a thing. Different races, scientifically, we're all just human. Yeah. I heard that in college once, I mean, they said everything's a social construct. I mean, now, your gender is just, a society determines that. But race is weird, because there's definitely a difference between, groups of people. But there's no, hard line where a person stops being black and starts becoming white. That's what's so dumb about blood quantum with Indians. I think the original idea was let's keep track of how much Indian they still are, because there's going to come a point where we, the government, no longer recognize you as that group of Indians that we we locked up. I think that is what blood quantum is. How much of your blood is stained red? It's all of it, okay? How come there's no blue section of the medicine wheel for the blue bloods? But yeah, so race is weird that way. I guess it's all about culture. And culture really is a social construct, But it is how you behave. I was thinking about this the other day. They say, culture is the rules of how you have to behave. But it's also the rules that you also want to do is your culture. It's not like it's just imposed on you to, I don't know if I have a good example. Like everyone agrees at the same time, to smile when you want to express. That's part of the culture, a nod. Or how about this? To say hello without waving, to use the chin hello. A lot of Shanab men, Indian men, do the chin hello. Because you don't want to wave. Hello. Hi there. It's me, your friend. So you do the chin hello. Sup? What's going on, Niji? Or it's the opposite of the bow. The bow is what you do to elders. BOOZHOO mishomas. BOOZHOO no comas. But to your Nijis, you're like, hey, Nij. Okay. Oh, I'm not a racist. I don't speed, officer. Hear about that guy? He was a racist. It's a good day for a race. Which one? The human race. I don't know. Good morning, USA. I got a feeling that it's gonna be a wonderful day. The sun in the sky has a smile on his face, and he's shining a salute to the American race. Oka hey, wela hey, wela hey, ho. Race as a social construct, wela hey, ho. John Wayne's teeth, John Wayne's teeth. Are they real? Are they steel? You never saw John Wayne smile in them old movies. I wonder why that was. George Washington had wooden teeth. He lost all his teeth from eating too much sugar. So he had his dentist go out in the woods and carve new teeth out of pine. He put them, so he had these dentures. And not a lot of people know this, but those dentures are the very same dentures, painted white, that Joe Biden wears today. Do I have a Joe Biden picture? Nope, I don't think so. Alcohola. You know what I like about Dakotas? Their word for Niji? What's that? Cola. Cola or Koda or Kona. The Dakota people, they're separated into three groups. Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota. And everybody likes the Lakota best because they're la lovely. But the Lakota, they call their friends Cola. Hey, Cola. Hey, Pepsi Cola. But if you're a Dakota, like the Shakopee Metawakatans, the people down in the cities, you would call them your Koda. Because it's all about the D's and the L's and the N's. Koda, Kola, Kona. And this has been your Dakota word of the day. I don't know much Dakota. I only know Ihanewashte. Ihanewashte. I think it means good morning or something like that. And Matakyoasin, I think. I'm probably saying that wrong. All my relations. And how. That's a good one too. How. People always think that's a racist stereotype. How come in those old movies the Indians always go, oh, how? That's racist. And then you go, no, that's the Ojibwe word for hello, or the Dakota word for hello. How? How you doing? How about that? So Grieving Turtle says, a turtle is better at the hurry up defense than Mr. Biden hikes. The hurry up defense. I don't know, man. That old Joe Biden sure seems to be struggling. You know, it just, every time you can tell he's reading a prompter. You know, that's just obvious. He's always like, my fellow Americans, or whatever. And you can almost tell like he's being distracted by somebody speaking in his ear. And, you know, he's so old. Like, just let him go, you guys. Just take it easy. Keep on waiting for him just to, you know, like he'll start a sentence and we kind of know where he's going, and he'll start to stutter. The American people need to know that and come on, man. You know, I'm going to put out a mask mandate. Come on, man. You smell good. But 2 masks now. Gotta wear 2 masks. Because you can't sniff. If I can't smell you, then you're probably okay. I don't know why. I can only do the southern accent when it comes to politicians. I don't know what kind of accent Biden has. So Jessica Gonzalez says, we always quote him at home. You know, the thing. Yeah. You know, the thing. Thanks. I don't know. I'm trying to unplug from politics. It's not that hard to do. I don't know. I guess I'm a little surprised that Trump actually left. I kind of pictured him to just kind of sit in the Oval Office with his arms crossed going, no, I'm not going anywhere. Come and take me away. I'd like to see you try. You know, but he's like, okay, honey, load up the U-Haul. We gotta go. I didn't really live here anyway. You know, I mean, how much time did they really spend at the White House? You know, the target for the next attack. I'm sure he was staying in, you know, some place that has a name like Mar-a-Lago or whatever. We don't have a name for our house. You know, rich people always name their places. Oh, this is Neverland. Oh, this is, what was Elvis's place called? Graceland. You know. Mar-a-Lago. That's another place. The Bat Cave. The Fortress of Solitude. How much did it cost to heat the Fortress of Solitude? I think Superman stole a lot of money. I mean, he could. You know. Oh, I'm a superhero. But yeah, you got bills too. So. Grieving Turtle says, your 54 project should be teaching us Psalm 54 in Ojibwe. That'd be awesome. All right, I'll do it. Psalm 54 in Ojibwe. I have no idea which one that is, but that'll be on my to-do list. Maybe for prayer day on Sunday, we'll learn the Psalm 54. Is that for every season there's a turn or whatever? Turn. You know, I hear the Psalms are like good poems, but because I'm, you know, functionally illiterate, I just don't read anything. You know what I read? This is so embarrassing to admit. For a while, I had like the children's New Testament next to the toilet. And so I'm just going to read this dumbed down kids version of the New Testament when I'd be, you know, not collecting my thoughts, getting rid of my thoughts. And then this morning I was reading for like the 3rd time the Russell Brand, you know, autobiography volume 2. This time it's personal. Why? Oh, yeah, I used to be married to Katy Perry. I did a comedy special that nobody could understand because of my English accent. But for some reason I have that. I think I bought it on a trip at an airport or something. And it's just sitting there, so I end up reading it and rereading it. I read that Paul Stanley biography like 5 times in the bathroom. I can't even read it anymore. I think he's not going to get impeached. Jessica says, I think he's not getting impeached. I heard that yesterday, which means he could run again in 4 years. Oh, okay. Trump's coming back in 4 years, sweetie. Oh, great. I love Donald Trump. Yeah, I know you do. Natasha's a huge Trumper. She's No, I'm not going to go there. Sorry, sweetie. I'm just kidding. It's like you have to explain that why you don't hate Trump. Like I'm not a Trumper. Meaning, there's a type of person, like I didn't go to a rally. But I don't hate a person just because he's on TV. I mean, what do he do? I don't hate Joe Biden. I don't hate Hillary Clinton. I don't have that strong of feelings for people I don't know. Richard says, "Save me, O God, by thy name, and judge me by thy strength." Oh, is that what Psalms is? Or is that just what Richard's saying that the idea of Trump coming back? Save me, O Lord. Well, I think we can actually give credit to the Trump supporters that they took the defeat much more gracefully than the Democrats did when Hillary lost. I mean, I know the news wants to make you think, oh, they were rioting, they stormed the Capitol. But yeah, that was like 10 guys. Remember the millions of people crying and screaming into the air when Trump won? No! It can't be! The world's coming to an end! You're like, take it easy. Hikes, you survived Bush. What are you worried about? But he said that thing! Yeah, remember the thing Clinton said about cigars? I mean, yeah, these guys are awful. I agree. Just calm down. Calm down. Calm down, you guys. It's okay. Why is it so creepy when people whisper, "Hey, what's going on?" It's me, the central scrutinizer. Does anybody remember Joe's Garage? The album by Frank Zappa. We could jam in Joe's garage. His mama was screaming, "Turn it down!" We were playing the same old song in the afternoon. And sometimes we would play it all night long. It was all we knew and easy too, so we wouldn't get it wrong. Even if I don't let anyone else on the show today. You know what I'm doing? What's that? I want to see if I can last a full hour without turning the microphone over to you or Natasha. Why are you doing that? Because when we started this, I could only go about 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And I don't want to ruin the wonderful illusion of the show. But somebody's hand falls asleep after doing a certain activity, which makes it impossible for me to speak. But today, I'm still going. I can't believe it. And yeah, I feel pretty good. So, sweetie, are you okay if we don't put you on camera today? I'm more than okay. That's fine. Okay. I'll have you be on the show tomorrow. Okay. And Michael, your hair looks great. You should come on here for a second. Michael's one of these guys who sometimes he wakes up and people are like, "Oh, you got bedhead." Well, he'll wake up and his hair actually looks better than the day before. It's the weirdest thing in the world. It's like little angels come in the night and give him a hairdo. So, there's a key piano. A piano key. Ebony and ivory live together in perfect harmony. How come there's no red keys on the piano? That's racist. They're always leaving out the red man. Oh, yeah, sure. Black and white. Living in perfect harmony, huh? You know? You guys do all your fighting on Indian land, by the way. I'm going to become one of those guys who just finds the angle. It's like, oh, yeah, you think racism's bad in America? All that racism is taking place on Indian land. You stole our land. And then you had your slaves on our land. Get your slaves off our land. And then somebody will be like, yeah, the Cherokee had slaves. You go, what? No, the Cherokee. Those, that tribe that all the non-Indian people say that they're from? My great-grandmother was a Cherokee princess. She was a Cherokee and a princess? How did that happen? Did this Cherokee girl marry a king? Or, wait, was her dad a king and her mom a Cherokee or something? How do you have Cherokee princess? What's a princess in Cherokee? Do they have Cherokee kings too? Cherokee queens? I'm the Cherokee Jack. I'm the Cherokee Ace of Spades. But anyway, so apparently the Cherokees had slaves of their own. Because that Trail of Tears story? That they always like to make movies out of? Oh, it was the Trail of Tears. The evil white man came and kicked the Cherokee out of their native lands. But what they don't tell them is that by that year, the Cherokees were living in colonial-style housing. And they had their own plantations. And a lot of them had slaves. And so the Cherokee and their slaves had to leave the plantations and their farms and travel through the wherever they were relocated, Nebraska or somewhere. And they starved to death. It's like, yeah, it's tragic. But let's hear the whole historical story. How come you guys edited out the part? What was the story leading up to that? How did they get their slaves? Did they buy them? I guess the first slave, I should research this before I talk about it, but the first slave who was ever legally bought, where they had the paperwork, because I guess we had slaves before we had laws for it or something. That's the other thing. We never had a slave. Us Ojibwes or the descendants. I'm not taking the guilt of slavery on. Those weren't my ancestors. But, where was I going with this? Oh, so the first legal purchase of a human being in, the United States of America was to another black guy. And I don't know if the guy, did he free that guy by buying him? Probably. That's probably what happened. So what's the point of that story? I told the story and now I just realized, well, yeah, that makes sense. He probably bought him to free him. It wasn't like a black guy went, all right, I got a slave of my own now. This is all right. Go make me some coffee. Like, get out of here, man. That's what it would be like if, that first guy, it's just another brother who buys him. It's like, all right, I just bought you. You're my slave. He goes, get out of here, man. I ain't your slave. Get out of here, you jive turkey. I'm going to go back to those 70s, step off, jive turkey. Sit on it. Oh, wow, Richard remembers Frank Zappa. Catholic Girls was the best song on that album. Yeah, I totally can't do any song except Joe's Garage. Catholic girls with her tiny little mustache. Catholic girls, do you know how they go? Yeah, it was melodically, musically, just a great album. And when you're just like a crazy seventh grader, it's so fun to have these humorous songs. You know, this is before Weird Al, so you'd have songs about, you know, catching disease. Why does it hurt when I pee? All right. Okay. I'm in the battle of wounded ears and wounded eyes. Tinnitus is troubling, and contact lenses are expensive. Tinnitus. Oh, I'm so sorry, grieving turtle. Tinnitus, is that where there's just one big ee all the time? That would be a kind of torture, man. And they're expensive hikes. Grieving Turtle says, not necessarily. There were black men involved in the slave trade, but nobody talks about that. Hikes, that's a good point. You know? I mean, is there some resentment of the black people who sold the other black people? You know? That's the problem with our education. They really simplify everything down. Once upon a time, there were evil white men who were, you know, much more powerful than the black men, so they enslaved them. But then some good white men came and said, hey, cut that out. And we all lived happily ever after. But just remember, the white men were the most powerful creatures on the planet. They could enslave everybody else. You know, wait a second, man. Then, you know, they've made it perfect where, like, if you question the story, you get called a racist. You know, it's like, oh, you don't believe in that the Civil War was fought over freeing the slaves? It's like, I'm not saying I don't believe it. I don't know the story at all. Yeah, so no, I don't assume the little sound bite I learned in school of what the Civil War was. Once upon a time, Abraham Lincoln, Honest Abe, you know. If they got to say that, then you know there's some lying going on. Honest Abe freed the slaves. He was so poor as a kid, he had to do his homework by candlelight, and he would write on a shovel. It's like, shut up. How would you possibly know that? But anyway, so then you question the narrative. You go, wait a second, is that really what happened? Is any part of this story a total fabrication? You know? How do we know that this story is accurate? Do we have, I heard once that there weren't any slave ships. You can't go to a museum and look at a slave ship. So what happened to them? Oh, you know, they all rotted away or something. When slavery was abolished, we destroyed all the boats and the chains. I don't know. You know what would totally get this channel shut down? If I start poking around the Holocaust. You know, they had a lady come out recently. She was a survivor of the Holocaust, 90-something years old. And her grandson was there, you know. She says, oh, I survived the Holocaust. And they were kind of pushing that's the other thing I can't talk about. They're pushing getting a shot. And they go, well, this Holocaust survivor says you should, so, you know, why don't you respect your elders? And then you go, hey, how come you survived, lady? Were you one of the, you know, guys, one of the people who turned in your family to, you know, win favor? You know, oh, my family's up in the attic. You know, I'll show you where they are, and then I can survive the Holocaust. You know, I was in a concentration camp, and I was the one who didn't starve to death. You know, because I ate all the food that was meant for everybody. All right, I gotta get off this topic, and that's all the time we have for today. We did it. We went a whole hour. Michael, you want to come up and just say goodbye so they can see your hair? Yeah, sure. Ladies and gentlemen, Thank you for listening to me endanger the, the health of this channel with my humor. Miigwech Ganawabieg, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Gigawabamin, Minawa. All right, take it away, Michael. Hello, everybody. I mean, my hair's thinning, but I woke up with total rock star hair today. I don't understand why. I look like, well, actually, it's, you know what it is? It's Jesus hair. This is what the hair that Jesus would have in one of those old paintings. Anyway, just wanted to stop in and say thank you so much for watching the show today. I'm sorry I wasn't here live, and I'm not sorry, but I decided not to come on live yesterday. I did the pre-show where I just posted a bunch of old music videos, and then, I took a shower and got distracted. So, but I will be back tomorrow. And it might be St. Matthew hair. Yeah, this is kind of a classic, timeless. I'm filming it for posterity because it's going to be gone in about a year. But, the Three Musketeers. Remember when the Hollywood guys all came out with goatees that year and became the Three Musketeers? I've got Three Musketeers hair. My bald spot is being covered pretty well. Anyway, so yeah, I'll see you tomorrow morning for my birthday show. And want to wish you a very happy Abituse Wednesday, halfway. And I will see you again. Gigawabamin, Minawa, Hawa.